Welcome back to Today Extra. Well, returning to our top story, veterans of the Battle of Long Tan have been left devastated after 50th anniversary commemorations were cancelled by the Vietnamese government. Well, overnight, Prime Minister Turnbull managed to broker an 11th-hour deal for the 1,000 Australians in Vietnam to have access to the memorial site. But it is under strict regulations.
All right, let's bring back Ben Fordham and Shelly Horton to discuss this. Fordo, our veterans will not be allowed to wear their medals. They're not allowed to wear their uniforms. They can't make speeches, and they can only enter the site 100 people at a time. This is their site. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think it's always been the case that the Smart Traveller website has always indicated to people, as I understand it, and certainly the Long Tan website from Vietnam, says to people, Australians who are going there, we prefer you don't wear your medals and your uniforms or carry flags or things like that, because obviously it's a sensitivity to the Vietnamese. They lost a couple of hundred people in the Battle of Long Tan. I think we lost around 18 or something like that. I mean, we both lost lives, and that is terrible. But the worst part of this is that 50 years on, we thought we'd reached a point where Vietnamese soldiers and Australian soldiers can stand as one and both honour their fallen soldiers and look back with a degree of both pride and regret about the efforts on the battlefield, but also those that lost their lives. The worst part about all of this is that this was done 24 hours out.
Yeah.
You know, 18 months of planning went into to ensure that all of those sensitivities would be looked after. None of the Australian soldiers are wearing their medals, so they all understood that was all going to be fine. But to pull the rug out from underneath these diggers at the age that a lot of them are at is just cruel.
Which is probably why the Veterans Affairs Minister has called this cancellation a kick in the guts, Shelly.
I think that's a bit harsh. I have complete compassion for the veterans who are over there and, you know, thank them for everything they've done, but I agree that we have to be very sensitive. The Vietnamese lost this war. So for us to go back, and it does seem like we're rubbing their nose in it a little bit. So I actually think the fact that this did blow out to 3,500 people and little Paddy was singing, and that went against everything that they've said all along, where it was small groups, no medals, and being very respectful. My dad is a veteran, and he travelled back to Vietnam just this year, and he said he was welcomed and people wanted to talk about the war and that they were very, very respectful to him as he was respectful to them. But he said it was a one-on-one situation. It wasn't a big group. Now, I understand also that it's a little bit of the healing process to go back to some of these places, but I don't think you need to do that in a massive group. I think you can do that smaller.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was rubbing anyone's nose in it. I just think it's a case of going there to respect those who lost their lives in the battlefield, and it's just a shame that they've gone so far. But if we put the shoe on the other foot, you're right. If we put the shoe on the other foot and we had soldiers from another country who had defeated us on our own land and they were coming here in mass numbers, I reckon we would probably struggle with that a little bit.
I agree with you. Look, let's move on. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has been photographed giving a homeless man $5. Not a big deal, right? But he has copped flack for holding a wad of cash in his other hand. Certain publications are saying he's estimated upwards of 200 million. Perhaps he should have slipped a few more notes in. Fordo, he can donate what he wants to donate.
I can't believe it. Like, he stops and gives $5
That's a really great gesture for
a homeless person on the street. And I watched the video because I'm a little bit of a cynic and you think, OK, the camera's there. But as you can see, the camera's way back. He didn't do it because the cameras were there. I've had a look at the footage. He was walking along and instinctively saw a homeless person, reached down, gave him $5, which is $5 more than the photographer who took that photo or the journalist. No offence to the photographer because you didn't write the headline, but the person who wrote the headline on that story, it's $5 more than that person gave to someone homeless on the street. And who cares if he's worth $200 million? He gave $5 to the bloke on the street. If he had given 50, they're saying he had 50 in his other hand. If they had given 50, they'd say, look at Moneybags Turnbull there, who gives away $50 every time he sees a homeless person.
I don't know about you, Shelly. I feel so uncomfortable talking about things like this because it's such a private gesture that, you know, doesn't need to be documented, let alone discussed at length.
And I think that people contribute to charity in different ways.
Correct.
So Malcolm Turnbull does so much charity work. So this is a completely different level. I donate my time. I mentor young female journalists. I donate blood. So I do things in different ways. It's not putting money in someone's cup. And I
you don't do it to get accolades.
I don't think you ever do it should be criticised for even giving $1. Like, it's still something that you're doing out of a positive gesture. And I just think it's terrible that there's a backlash in this. And I just think that, you know, our Prime Minister can't do anything right at the moment. And I feel that everyone's just having a go.
I'm sure you're right. All right, finally, new research has revealed 18% of Australian couples keep a secret bank account. Are you one of them? The most common reasons, apparently, were to buy items their partner might not approve of, and in case the relationship goes pear-shaped. Do you have a problem with this, Shelley?
Absolutely not. It's not a secret account. My husband knows I have it. And this actually came from my own example. When I left my first husband, my first divorce, I wanted to go to a hotel that night, and we only had our joint credit card, and I didn't want to use the credit card. I didn't want him to know where I was going. I also didn't want to be using his money, and I ended up borrowing money off a girlfriend. Now, I wasn't in a situation of domestic violence or anything like that. There are women who are in that situation. Have a stash of money, keep it there. The husband doesn't need to know about it, but in my case, I don't care if he knows about it. Of course, I've got my own money. We have individual accounts and group accounts, and that's the way that we're going to rock it.
Lisa, I don't think has a...
Should I call her now?
Oh boy, this is
She's asked me to mind a little bit, just in case. She calls it the just-in-case account.
The nest egg?
Yeah,
The only time we share an account. The only time I ever lied... I said, Lisa, the only time I ever lied to you is at Christmas and your birthday, because... Yeah. Don't look at the accounts then, because I'm doing something with them. You know?
Jodie and I have got separate bank accounts. We've never... Only because... Not because we planned it that way, just because she had a bank account and I had a bank account, and we fell in love and we got married, and it's just been that way ever since. So, and then when we need money, when someone's doing something or buying something, or there's fees or whatever, or we transfer money or we do whatever, or, you know, have the secret drawer with some cash in it in case, you know, for takeaway or whatever. No big deal. But the interesting thing about this is what Shelley raised is there are women who find themselves in a violent situation, and when they need to leave, they don't have the funds there. So, I mean, the first thing is don't get yourself into that situation. The moment there's a sign of anyone being violent towards you or bullying towards you, get the hell out of there. But that's easier said than done.
No, that's right.
If you need a little bit of stash there just in case for that situation, I totally understand.
If you want to have independence, have independence.
Yeah. Just there you go. We're all keeping big fat secrets. I love it.
And if you don't want to spend on a hotel, there's a shoe sale on.
Exactly. The shoe stash.
Those guys, go on to Facebook and Twitter. Let us know what you think.
All right, still to come, he's one of the best-loved actors in the world.